Chris Filmmaker 123.
And I'm sorry we haven't talked about this sooner. I wanted to talk about this with my brother. So this is our response to the news that the next Superman movie, Man of Steel 2, will be Batman versus Superman.
More likely Superman versus Batman.
Probably, yeah. It's Superman's movie. So we're here
Now,
to
do you think it's going to be called Man of Steel 2?
That's the weird thing. I mean,
because I don't think that, like Batman Begins wasn't called Batman Begins 2. Like, and if they're going that kind of similar to that, but not necessarily the same, they're going to come up with a new title, I think.
Personally, I think actually the days of saying, like, 2 after a movie franchise is almost over. I mean, think about it. Just looking at the superhero movies alone, instead of having Thor 2, it's Thor Dark World. Instead of having Captain America 2, it's Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Right.
Instead of having the Avengers 2, it's the Avengers Age of Ultron. And so I don't think it's going to be called the Man of Steel 2. But the thing is, this is like something like when you're a kid, you always think, wow, wouldn't it be cool if RoboCop and Terminator were in the same movie? Or wouldn't it be cool if Superman and Batman were in the same movie? But you never actually expect it to happen. This is happening, Chris.
Yeah, well, they talked about it for a long time. Now, I thought that they were going to go the, Justice League route.
Right.
But they obviously wanted to keep within Warner Brothers' means as far as Batman goes.
Now,
I knew they were not going to wait a second to get him back in the movie.
Yeah,
they were already talking about it,
Now, here's the thing. We're all excited that it's happening, but the real question is it the right time? Because, okay, let's count how many DC characters have gotten their own movies. Batman, Superman, Green Lantern. Steel.
Yep.
Supergirl. Catwoman.
Ugh.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that pleasant, does it? I mean, I'm sure there's others, but for the majority of people who have, DC is behind. Marvel is going to be making an Ant-Man movie. We're not even at that point where we can start making movies of characters that people haven't even heard of yet.
Well, I know.
So,
and I mean, like...
So it's like, you see this and you start asking the questions. Where's Wonder Woman? Where's Flash? Where's a reboot of Green Lantern or something? I don't know. You start asking these questions of why aren't any of these other characters getting their own film?
All you see is question marks on IMDb.
Yeah, I mean...
Question marks.
The Riddler. No. We'll talk about who we think.
It's a little bit of I don't know what it has to do with. You know what I think it has to do with? Just people not either feeling confident enough to do it, direct it, or take on the role, or people just not interested.
I think what the real thing is Warner Brothers got scared after Green Lantern. Because Green Lantern cost a whole lot of money to make, and I don't think it might have broke even, but I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Are you speculating?
I'm speculating, but it wasn't the big money maker like The Dark Knight was, and that scares them. Oh, we can't make any of these other characters. We gotta still do Batman, and we gotta do Superman. Which, don't get me wrong, I was happy to see Superman, but. To see Batman back into the movie world before we even get any other characters, I don't know. And the fact that he's not even going to be getting his own movie before Man of Steel.
He's in this eye spectrum. You think about the animated movies that like Public Enemies with Batman and Superman fighting together and stuff like that. There's a lot of those animated movies out there. Mm-hmm. It was just a matter of time before, they had the comics.
Before the I Am Legend tradition, or the I Am Legend prediction finally came true.
Exactly. It was just a matter of time before they finally got to do that. And I honestly think they were just... And I don't know if this was completely Zach's idea, whose idea it was, but really, when you think about it, they didn't have a Superman movie since, Superman Returns. And there was no one on the board of saying, gee, if we keep things going, maybe we could put Batman in. No, they weren't thinking that. They just wanted to make a Superman movie that didn't do too well. Now they thought, well, now that Man of Steel's gone good, we can do that. So let's put Batman in there so that they can have the clash and then become friends, and it would have been a dream.
This is definitely DC's reaction to the Avengers.
Oh, absolutely.
You look at the Avengers and you see how much it made. It was number 3 of the highest grossing movies of all time, only behind Titanic and Avatar. James Cameron, you sure know how to make money. Anyway, but the fact that this is a reaction to it doesn't necessarily mean it could, I'm hoping that it's going to be very good. So let's talk about what do you hope the movie's going to be like?
I'm hoping that it's going to be kind of what we got from the animated movie Superman versus Batman, right? You remember that?
Yeah,
and it had a lot of different things to it. Now, when you look at it now, it's kind of an old story, right? Like you kind of can predict things, but it made it interesting because you had Bruce Wayne going after Lois Lane. You had Lex Luthor in the mix, and Joker has to work with him. Now that may be too much villains.
What villains would you like to see
in the next Man of Steel? I'm hoping that Lex comes in. I think he's always been. It was always interesting having him with kind of the mix of Batman, because it gave Batman kind of a reason not to fight him the whole movie. You need a villain. You can't just have Batman in it and expect the fans to be like, oh yeah, this is all good, and they're gonna be bored if by the end of the movie finally Batman becomes says, okay, we need you.
I think the thing is, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would like to see Lex too. I mean, it's weird for me to say that because we've had so many stinking Superman movies with Lex Luthor in it, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, let's take account Superman Lex, Superman 2, Lex and Zod, Superman 3, some douchebag and Richard Pryor, Superman 4, Lex and Nuclear Man, Superman Returns, Lex again, and then Zod. So we've only really had
I see what you're saying.
a few villains, but I would like to see Lex create another villain. What I would like to see
so that would be the biggest villain of them all.
Well, yeah, the main focus. Not Brainiac.
That would be Brainiac.
I don't think it'd be time for Brainiac. I say save that for Man of Steel 3.
Okay.
This is my suggestion.
Come up with a bang like Iron Man 3.
Shut up. Shut up.
Okay, anyways.
Here's my suggestion. Would be that Superman, or that Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne are maybe working together to rebuild Metropolis. Bruce Wayne doing it just because he's a good guy, Lex Luthor doing it because he wants control of Metropolis, sort of thing, but doesn't let anyone know that. But then you have Superman that's protesting against Lex Luthor and blah blah blah, and so Batman. I want Batman to then figure out that Superman has a weakness to kryptonite.
Of course.
I want that
to be an easy one.
Yeah, I want that, but I want Batman to figure it out, and I want him to be able to tell Lex maybe, and then Lex flips this and creates Metallo.
Metallo.
I think Metallo could fit because you have Batman who makes a mistake, but and Superman's making mistakes too. And you have Metallo, the unstoppable, because then it's kryptonite, and they have to work together. Batman, Superman can't get too close to Metallo, or else he could die. But Batman then has to help him out. So I think that could work. I think Metallo could really work in the Superman movie. Whether you include any Batman villains in here, I don't know, because if it's Superman's movie, then you might just want to be focusing on
that would be
Superman's
a little
villains.
risky to just pop in the Joker. There's the Joker too.
Here I am.
Fans would be in
Yeah,
a
no.
little
No.
bit of rage there.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
But what if they threw in the Mad Hatter? The Mad Hatter's working with Lex.
I don't know. It might be a little weird. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, to have a villain to be able to work, I don't know. You could have a Batman villain in there, but I don't think you should probably take any major villains, like major A-list or B-list Batman villains, because you should probably be saving those for a Batman movie.
You know what I wish? I mean,
What?
it's David Goyer, right? That's
Yes.
doing the writing. I don't know why, but I just wish that Bruce Timm would be a co-writer. I just feel that it would be on the right track if he was writing it. Helping, at least, But that's just my preference.
It's always weird with Hollywood because I don't know. You look at guys who do animated TV shows, and a lot of people wouldn't put them on the same level of people who make Hollywood blockbusters. I think it would be a great idea if they had Bruce Timm help to produce it, or Paul Dini helping writing it, but I don't think that's really going to happen because Hollywood likes to stay in their own little world, and they might have some comic writers be able to put some input, but I don't think it's going to be a while before they actually get some comic writers to actually help write the thing.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to try and make it as fresh as possible, like not do any of the things that they've done in the past, which may mean they're not going to use Bruce as a love interest for Lois Lane. And I'm fine with that.
I think it probably would work better if they didn't, because Amy Adams, like in the Man of Steel, kind of showed that she was having a thing for Clark Kent because she knew who they both were. Like, it worked in the animated series because she thought Clark Kent was a bubbling idiot, not Superman. But I don't think it would work here.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Now that they've put them together in a movie, they were talking about this. When was it? I thought in 2002 they had an idea for this. But am I wrong? Like, do you remember our older brother saying, "Yeah, man, when that comes out, we gotta go see it." And he was and they were talking about it being in 2005.
I don't know, man.
Hollywood.
Hollywood is so fickle because
here we are 10 years later.
You can have movies that have been in development for ever, and they never eventually get made. Look at Jurassic Park 4. We started hearing rumors about Jurassic Park 4 right after Jurassic Park 3.
That was 99.
Yeah, so here we are 14 years later, and they're still saying, "Oh, maybe, we might, possibly."
Finally, Spielberg just said, "I'm not going to be a part of it."
I'm too old for this crap. What would you say what would some of the things you want to have happen in the movie?
I just want to see a lot of relationship as far as clash goes. I want to see a relationship clash between Superman and Batman. I loved how it was so they kind of played at each other's I guess talents, like Superman can see through any walls, but Batman has also a good eye for things, and for
Superman being able to see something, but Batman can see it and know exactly where it came from, exactly,
and Batman being able to predict things. That's what I hope for. If you have Batman just not being able to do the skills that he's required to, then I'd be very disappointed. I think it's an interesting balance, but when you think about it, this Superman is going to start as maybe not giving, maybe not trying to, destroy Batman right away. Of course, he's going to try and reason with him. But the thing is, for an epic battle to happen, I'm telling you right now, there's got to be kryptonite in his knuckles.
Here's the thing. I think you're right, because the fight, it's going to be weird. It's going to be different, because you see Man of Steel, and they're tearing through buildings like paper, and they're ripping through all this stuff. It's going to be interesting to actually see a fight scene between Batman and Superman, and for it to try to be on that sort of scale. I want to tell you, one of my favorite Batman-Superman moments that I hope something similar like that could end up in this movie. In this book that I have here, Superman, the Man of Steel, this is an old Superman origin story. In this book, you see the first meeting between Batman and Superman. Now, I want to talk about my favorite moment, is because Superman knows that he's outmatched Batman, right? And Batman's not prepared to fight Superman here, but he outsmarts them, and this is how he does it. He says, Superman sees there's this like field around him, like not a force field because he could still punch through me or anything. And he says, "Superman, you see this field around me. If you come within that close of me, a bomb will go off and kill somebody in this city." And Superman's listening to his heartbeat, and he's telling the truth. And so you think, whoa, that's a little dark for Batman. And so then they team up and they defeat the bad guy. And as Batman's going to leave, he's like, wait a minute. What about that bomb that you said was hooked up to an innocent person in this city? And he says, okay, here you go. And he pulls out a bomb from behind his belt and gives it to Superman. If Superman had gone near Batman, it would have killed Batman. The only life that Batman risked was his own.
Huh.
Like, I thought that was such a cool moment where you think, oh, Batman wouldn't risk somebody's life, but here you have him actually outsmarting Superman, and the only life he's ever actually putting in danger is his own. So I want to see, like, something like that. Obviously you're going to have a world in this movie of Man of Steel 2 where some people are going to be really afraid of Superman because of what he can do, especially after what happens to Metropolis.
Yeah.
So there's going to need to be some rebuilding of Metropolis, some broken trust, and I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with it.
I don't think anyone's going to be upset about not introducing Batman in the way they think he should be introduced. I think everyone knows him so well that when he arrives, even if he arrives like basically as Bruce Wayne, they're gonna just follow his story. And I think that's the best way to go. I don't know if they could have done it another way, maybe have his own movie, but this is also a good way of doing it.
You know what I think this is a good way of? I think this is a good way of introducing Batman into a new movie franchise without telling the origin.
Yes.
Because I said in what I think they should do in the Batman reboot talks, that they should not tell Batman's origin again.
Yes.
Because we know it to death. It's been done to death. And Christopher Nolan did such an amazing job at telling the origin that there was absolutely no reason to tell it again.
And don't you think it was a good thing that when in Man of Steel, when they had Kal-El coming in on his pod, they just flashed forward? I thought that was smart, because you know exactly what happens after that. Martha,
it's true.
What's his name? Kent?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, sorry. Find them and then blah, da, 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 you know.
I think it's true, but I would have wanted to see.
I didn't want to. I was almost gonna yawn, and then it flashed forward, and I was like, good.
It's true. We all know the story so well that we can fill in the blanks ourselves. But I don't know. I still would have liked maybe to see it at the very end, like as a flashback to the moment, just of his father opening it up and looking down. Something like that. I don't know. That was my personal preference, but I get what you mean. We all know the story. We don't need to see it again. Same with Batman. We all know his parents died. We don't need to see it again.
But let's just say that one thing that this has done is it opened the world. This just introducing one character, it didn't even matter who it was, as a
Superman and Flash.
Yeah, exactly. As a very important part of the movie, basically means that now people are open for someone else, and hopefully they can figure out a way to do the Justice League movie the right way.
You know, it's kind of interesting because
put even other characters in it too. You know, like
you kind of interesting because just Batman and Superman in a movie together opens up the whole world. We look at in animation, because this happened in the same thing of Batman the Animated Series and Superman the Animated Series. First, they met in Superman's show, kind of similar to what's happening here. And then after that, the Superman show got a couple more DC characters. They had the Flash, they had Green Lantern. And then after that, then they developed the Justice League show. And then the Justice League Unlimited, so they could have all the characters in. And it really all started with Batman and Superman. The crime, nitty-gritty superhero versus the super all-powerful superhero. Such an unlikely combo. Putting together makes such a opens up the entire world to both areas.
And I really think in 2015, you're going to see, before Man of Steel 2 comes out, Oh yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of news about. Oh, what are they gonna do now?
Anyway, so we got off topic, but for the Batman Superman movie, I am definitely looking forward to it. I'm wanting to
Yep.
see both
It's
of our
gonna be
favorite
well worth
superhero, Batman, with one of my other, not the favorite, but one of my other favorites, Superman, finally clashing together. We get to see a friendship between them in the movies. We just finally get to see a DC continuity, and that's going to be fun to see. So, hope to see it turn out very well. Thanks for joining me, Chris.
Yep.
So,
As always.
I'm LaserDude99,
I'm Chris Filmmaker 123.
and be sure to check out more of my videos and a couple of his. So, see you around. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.